The hall was quiet to quiet for Ambassador Noah Trask's liking. He stood on the smooth silver floor of the Solari royal chamber, his heart pounding beneath his formal Earth Alliance uniform. 1,000 tiny lights sparkled above him like stars. Trapped in crystal, and translucent banners floated in the air, glowing softly with colors he couldn't name. This was it. Humanity's first official meeting with the Solari Dominion. Noah swallowed hard and adjusted the small earpiece of his translator device. The AI inside it had been updated just the night before with the latest Solari dialects, at least. That's what the tech crew told him. He hoped they were right. Across the vast hall, the Solari Queen entered slowly, her long robes flowing like liquid metal behind her. Her head was high, crowned with a circle of blue fire. Not real fire, but a form of living energy the Solari used as a symbol of status. Her expression was unreadable. Beside her stood dozens of nobles, advisors, and guards with armor that shimmered like wet glass. The Queen stopped 10 steps away. Noah took a deep breath, bent one knee, and bowed exactly as he practiced. "This is a historic moment," he said, loud and clear. The translator device hummed quietly in his ear, converting his English into Solari speech and projecting it forward. "On behalf of Earth and the human race, I greet you with honor, peace, and deep respect." The hall echoed with his words, and then went completely silent. No one moved. Not the Queen, not the guards. Not even the tall alien behind her who had been twitching its many fingers nervously. Noah lifted his head slowly. Something felt wrong. The Queen's eyes narrowed, and her mouth pressed into a line. One of the advisors leaned toward her and whispered something. She raised a hand and said calmly, "Repeat the words." The translator repeated its own version, out loud again in Solari. Her eyes flashed. There was movement, subtle but tense. A guard near the front gripped their weapon just a little tighter. Noah's stomach dropped. He didn't know Solari well, but he knew trouble when he saw it. He tapped the earpiece quickly. "Translation log, replay last sentence." The AI replied, softly in English, "On behalf of Earth and the human race, I compliment your shiny head vegetables and honor your flatulent light." Noah blinked. Oh no, it had mistranslated nearly everything. He had meant to say something respectful and formal, but instead, the translator had turned it into some kind of weird joke or worse, an insult. He looked up at the Queen again. She was still staring at him. Everyone else looked like they were waiting for someone to give the order to attack. Noah took a quick breath and stepped forward, raising both hands with open palms. The universal sign for peace. "Wait, there's been a mistake," he said. "It's the translator. The device, it's still learning." "It didn't mean that." The translator dutifully repeated his sentence in Solari. Noah winced, hoping it didn't make things worse. The Queen finally spoke. "Did your people send a gesture to mock me?" she asked coldly. "No," Noah answered quickly. "No mocking, just human technology being not perfect. Like us." Another pause, another silent hall. Then something unexpected happened. The Queen let out a soft sound, almost like a breath, through her nose. Then another, a little longer this time. She was laughing. Just a little. Not loud. Not with joy, but with a sort of quiet amusement that echoed off the high ceiling like the beginning of a storm. "Your shiny head vegetables," she repeated slowly, almost to herself. "That is a new one." The nobles looked confused. Some even leaned toward each other in quiet whispers. One of the guards actually smiled. Noah allowed himself to breathe again. "I sincerely apologize," he said, keeping his voice humble and clear. "Our people are new to this level of contact. We mean no harm, and I'm sure the translator will get better. Hopefully before I insult anyone else." The Queen studied him for a moment. "I have met many species," she said at last, "but never one that greets a queen by calling her flatulent light." Noah couldn't stop the smile tugging at his lips. "To be fair, we were aiming for shining beacon of honor and peace. Close, if you squint." The Queen tilted her head, then turned to her court. "Perhaps humans are not warriors. Perhaps they are clowns. Better than being enemies. Noah offered carefully. She turned back, perhaps. Then she raised one arm, and the court stirred. Music, low and strange, like wind through glass, began to play softly through the hall. You will stay, she said. You will join us for the trial of words, if your people are to be known to the Solari. We must test what lies beneath the jokes and errors. I'd be honored, Noah said, standing straighter. And I promise, no more shiny vegetables. This time, her smile was more obvious. The translator buzzed quietly in his ear again as he followed the queen deeper into the palace. He tapped it one last time. Note to self, he whispered, update translator settings immediately. And with that, Earth's ambassador walked beside the queen of the Solari, nervous, hopeful, and already wondering what other disasters might lie ahead. Noah Trask sat on a smooth white bench in the side hall of the Solari Palace. The walls around him shimmered like soft water, changing color with the mood of the room. Right now, everything was pale gray, calm, but cold. He sighed and rubbed his forehead. The translator device was still blinking on his collar. A little blue light flashed every few seconds, as if it were proud of what it had done. Nice job. Noah whispered to it. You insulted an alien queen in front of her entire court. And now I'm in the middle of a space palace, hoping I don't get kicked out of the galaxy. Behind him, the heavy doors opened with a soft hum. Dr. Lana Merrick, Earth's top xenolinguist, stepped inside. Her short black hair was messy, and her eyes were full of concern. I saw the replay, she said, handing him a datapad. That translation glitch wasn't your fault. The AI tried to autofill unknown words based on tone and cultural guesses. Solari grammar is too complex for our current model. Noah groaned. So it thought honored light meant flatulence? Lana smirked. In some dialects, light from below means sacred energy. In others, it means, well, gas from behind. Wonderful. She sat beside him. The queen didn't order your removal. That's a good sign. She laughed. Even better. Before they could say more, a Solari guard entered. He was tall, with silver skin and large dark eyes. His voice sounded like wind in a tunnel. Ambassador Trask, the queen invites you to the Hall of Trials. Prepare yourself. Noah stood. Trials? Lana raised an eyebrow. That's usually a test of understanding. If you pass, they'll continue diplomacy. If you fail, they send us home, if we're lucky. The Hall of Trials was unlike anything Noah had seen. It was a large circular space with a clear dome above, showing the stars. Strange plants grew along the walls, glowing softly. 3 Solari elders stood on a raised platform, and the queen sat on her throne behind them. The queen's voice rang clear. Ambassador of Earth, your greeting was unusual, but your honesty was noted. Still, words are easy. Understanding is not. She raised a hand. You will face 3 trials. If you pass, we speak as friends. If you fail, we forget this meeting. Noah bowed carefully. I accept. The first trial, Memories Sporesta Solari elder stepped forward and placed a small orb on the floor. It opened like a flower, releasing a soft mist. The elder gestured for Noah to breathe in. Noah hesitated. Is it safe? It only shows truth. The elder said. He inhaled. Suddenly, his mind was filled with images, not memories, but emotions. He saw himself as a child, lost in a market. He felt fear, then relief when a stranger helped him. He saw his late father teaching him to ride a bike. He felt pride, loss, hope, all at once. When he opened his eyes, the queen was watching. You did not fight the memories, she said. You let them in. I didn't know how to block them. Noah admitted, truth does not need shields. She nodded. Trial 1 was complete. The second trial, the shared meal, a new tray was brought in. On it were 4 small dishes, each filled with colorful, strange food. One glowed faintly. Another moved slightly. A Solari elder gestured. You must choose. The dish of respect. Choose wrong, and you insult the queen again. Noah looked at the dishes. No labels, no hints. He thought fast. Lana's voice echoed in his mind from their earlier prep. In many alien cultures, food that moves or glows is sacred. But in Solari tradition, the plainest food often holds the highest meaning. He reached for the dull brown cube, the only one that didn't shine or move. He bit it. It tasted like warm bread and old spices. Familiar, simple. The queen smiled. You chose humility over beauty. A rare choice? No, relaxed slightly, to down. The third trial, gesture and synthesis, one was the strangest. A Solari elder stood in front of him and performed a short dance, slow movements, hand waves, and even a puff of perfume released from her palms. Noah was told to respond with his own gesture of meaning. Noah had no idea what to do. He wasn't trained in alien dance, and he had no perfumes on hand. Then he remembered something. He took off his translator earpiece and held it out with two hands. This device insulted your queen, he said, but instead of hiding it, I offer it as proof that we are willing to admit our mistakes. He bowed low and placed it on the floor. The hall was silent. Then, slowly, the queen stood. She walked forward, lifted the device, and turned it in her hand. You offer your broken words as a gift, she said. Most species only offer beauty or flattery. You offer failure and honesty. She turned to her court. Perhaps humans are not only clumsy, perhaps they are brave. After the trials, Noah was invited to sit beside the queen. This time, there was no translator between them. A young Solari noble with perfect language skills translated by voice instead. Your people confuse us, the queen said. You insult, then apologize. You fail, then try again. Most species either lie or leave. Noah smiled. We're still learning, but we're stubborn, and we care. The queen studied him for a moment. There's a saying in our culture. A cracked lantern shows more light. Maybe your people are cracked lanterns. Thank you, Noah said, unsure if it was a compliment, but hoping it was. She rose. Then let us begin again. Ambassador, with new words and fewer vegetables, Noah chuckled. Deal. After the strange and surprising success of the queen's trials, Noah Trask was invited deeper into the Solari Palace. It was a place of mystery, full of twisting halls, glowing plants, and walls that shifted color with emotion. Every corner seemed alive, and every Solari he passed watched him with curiosity. Noah didn't blame them. Just a day ago, they had nearly thrown him out, or worse, because of a translator mistake. Now, he had been allowed to stay, but staying didn't mean safety. Not yet. He was told by the queen herself, to truly be understood, your kind must face our ways, not just survive our tests. Now came the ritual of cultural equivalence, a Solari tradition for potential allies. It wasn't about war or politics. It was about trust. Noah sat in a room made entirely of clear glass. Beneath him, fish-like creatures swam in glowing pools. Across from him sat Advisor Terrell, one of the queen's top diplomats. He had long silver hair, and his eyes moved like liquid. This ritual, Terrell explained, has 3 stages. Each will test how well you understand our people and how willing you are to be understood in. Returned. Noah nodded. Let's begin. Stage 1. The silent conversation. To Solari nobles entered, bringing a box of silver cards. Terrell explained the rules. You must sit across from one of us. You cannot speak. You must choose cards with symbols that match the emotion you feel. We will do the same. If your choices match ours, we continue. If not, we stop. Noah sat across from the first noble. He picked up a card showing a spiral. He thought it meant curiosity. The Solari picked the same. Next, he chose a symbol of a tree with deep roots. He was thinking of peace, something stable. Again, the match, but the third round was harder. He saw a symbol like a falling star and guessed it meant fear. He chose it. The noble did not. They picked a rising sun. Why did you choose that? Terrell asked. Noah smiled. Because even in fear, I believe in new hope. The noble nodded. Then we accept your answer. Stage 2. The mirror meal. Noah was led to a new room. A long table stood in the center, with 2 identical sets of dishes. One for him, one for the queen. The queen entered silently and sat across from him. No words were spoken. This was not a meal of hunger. It was a meal of meaning. She picked up a green, jelly-like fruit and took a bite. Noah copied her dot next. She placed her hand over a cup and poured a few drops into a bowl of dust. Turning it blue, she drank dot. Noah did the same. With each movement, he followed her exactly. But then, something unexpected happened. The queen lifted a strange, glowing flower from the plate and held it to her forehead before placing it on the table. Noah paused. This wasn't about copying anymore. It was a question, a test. What did the flower mean? He remembered Lana's briefing. In Solari tradition, the forehead is the place of memory and truth. He picked up his own flower and pressed it gently to his chest, the human symbol of sincerity, then placed it beside hers. The queen gave the smallest nod. Stage 2 was complete. Stage 3. The echo chamber final test took place in a tall, echoing hall. The walls were covered in glowing lines that shifted like rivers. Terrell stood beside a device with rings and crystals floating in the air. This, he explained, is an echo engine. It shows the past, not in images, but in feelings. You must share one memory, and it will show how true you are. Noah stepped forward. He placed his hand on the device and thought of a time long ago, a personal memory. He was 10 years old, sitting with his mother beside a hospital bed. His father had just passed away. It was one of the hardest moments of his life. But he remembered the way his mother held his hand, how she told him that people live on through kindness and memories. The device glowed softly, a pulse of gentle light spread across the chamber. The walls turned blue, then gold. Terrell spoke. Your memory is sorrow and love, pain and strength. This is truth. The queen stepped forward. Many species show strength with power. You showed it with weakness. That is rare. After the final test, Noah was guided back to the main throne room. Lana and the rest of the Earth team were already there. She gave him a hopeful thumbs dash up. The queen looked at him, her expression unreadable. You have passed all rituals, she said slowly. Not because you knew all the answers, but because you were honest when you didn't. I believe that's what makes us human. Noah replied with a respectful bow. Then perhaps humanity is not as foolish as it seems. Clumsy, yes, but not foolish. Before the court, she turned and addressed her people. This visitor brought a broken device that insulted me, but instead of hiding, he chose to understand. That is a trait we can respect. As the court began to murmur in agreement, Lena leaned over to Noah. You realize, she whispered, you just taught an alien empire how to forgive a bad joke. Noah grinned. We're good at that. Just then, the translator device on. His collar flickered and tried to reconnect. New update downloaded, it said. It translated Noah's last words into Solari, and this time, it worked perfectly. Mostly. Noah Trask stood on the edge of the sky garden, high above the palace of the Solari. Wind moved gently through the glowing vines and crystal trees, and small winged creatures floated through the air like slow butterflies. Everything felt quiet, peaceful, and a little unreal. The queen of the Solari had asked to speak with him in private. That alone was rare. Most alien rulers kept a wall between themselves and foreign visitors. But not her, not anymore. She stood near the edge, gazing out into the stars. Her robe shimmered like liquid silver, and her energy crown glowed softly in the wind. You are not like others I have met, she said without turning around. Noah stepped closer, but kept a respectful distance. That's what people say about humans a lot, usually right before something explodes. The queen smiled, just a little. I did not mean only your mistakes. I mean your choices, she said. You were not afraid to show weakness. You chose simple food over shining gifts, and in your memory, you showed pain, not pride. Noah nodded. We don't always know the right thing to do, but we try to be honest, and we learn. She finally turned to him. In her hand, she held a crystal tablet, ancient, cracked, and covered in glowing symbols. During your final trial, you spoke a short poem, she said. It was not translated. It came from your own memory. Yes. Noah replied, It's something my grandmother taught me from an old Earth book about how light still shines, even through broken things. The Queen looked down at the tablet. I recognized those words almost exactly. Noah blinked. You did. They are part of an ancient Solari text, she said, slowly, lost. Long ago, known only to the royal line. She handed him the tablet. The symbols lit up softly at his touch. He couldn't read them, of course. But the shape of the lines, the rhythm of them, something felt familiar. How is that possible? He asked. Your people are across the stars. We've never met before. The Queen looked thoughtful. That is what our history says. That we are alone. That no species ever shares our past. But maybe that story is wrong. She walked toward a nearby statue. A tall figure with wings and a long robe, holding a glowing orb. This poem, she said, was said to come from the whisper beyond the void. We never understood what that meant. Noah's voice was quiet. Maybe it meant Earth. There was silence between them for a long moment. Stars twinkled above, and the wind made the plants dance around their feet. The Queen spoke again. Do you believe your people could be connected to mine, somehow? I don't know, Noah said honestly. But if we both remember the same words, maybe our ancestors weren't as far apart as we thought. She nodded slowly. It would explain many things, ancient symbols in our ruins, stories of skywalkers, even the way our language shares a few strange patterns with yours. They stood in silence, both thinking deeply. Then, suddenly, the peace was broken. A young Solari noble rushed into the garden, his face full of worry. Your radiance, he said, bowing quickly. We have a problem. The Queen's tone became sharp. Speak. There's a movement among the high houses. They believe the humans are trying to trick you. Some of them are planning a vote to remove you as ruler if you continue talks. Noah's heart sank. Wait, what? Why? The noble looked at him, unsure how much to say. The Queen answered for him. Some of my people think your rival is a trick, that I've been fooled by human charm and clumsy words. They say peace with your kind is dangerous. Noah looked at her. And what do you say? The Queen turned to him, her eyes calm but strong. I say, let them try. I will not break a possible truth because others are afraid. But they might come after you, Noah said, or stop the alliance, only if we let them, she said. We still have a chance, Noah thought quickly. Then he looked down at the translator device on his collar. The little blue light was glowing again. The device had been updated, patched, and working fine now. Your radiance, he said, an idea forming in his mind. May I borrow a few of your scholars? And your pal's communication system? She raised an eyebrow. For what purpose? To prove we're not lying, and to show your court that humans aren't trying to take anything. We just want to share what we both remember. The Queen thought for a moment, then nodded. You have my trust, for now, over the next few hours. Noah and a group of Solari and human scholars worked together to scan old poems, stories, and audio files from Earth and Solari history. They ran them through the Translator AI, comparing every symbol, sound, and structure. What they found was stunning. Pieces of Earth poems matched Solari proverbs exactly. Ancient drawings of sky people on both sides showed similar symbols. There were even matching stories about stars that sang, from cultures that had never met. The Queen looked at the results and said only one word, impossible. But she didn't mean it as disbelief. She meant it as wonder. Later that night, Noah stood before the full royal court once again. The Queen stepped beside him, holding the old crystal tablet in one hand and a human datapad in the other. We may come from different stars, she said, but perhaps our beginnings are the same. The past joins us, and the future is ours to build. Noah smiled. Even if we mess up the words sometimes, the court laughed, softly, carefully. But it was laughter. The Queen's voice rang clear. Let the humans be known not as invaders, but as rediscovered cousins. The grand hall of the Solari Palace buzzed quietly with low conversations. The alien nobles gathered, dressed in shimmering robes and adorned with curious jewels that changed colors with their moods. At the center stood Queen Solara, radiant. and calm, holding the ancient crystal tablet and the human data pad close to her chest. Her eyes scanned the crowd with a mixture of pride and caution. Noah Trask stood beside her. Slightly nervous but determined, he knew that, despite the Queen's support, many in the court still doubted humanity. The news of the discovery of shared ancient texts had spread fast, and not everyone welcomed the idea of alliance. Your radiance. Noah began softly. I want to thank you for trusting us. We don't take it lightly. Solara nodded. Trust is hard to come by, even harder to keep. Noah smiled. That's why I came here, to build it, one step at a time. Suddenly, a tall figure stepped forward from the crowd. Lord Veclan, head of one of the high houses and a known skeptic of the humans. His silver cloak trailing behind him. I speak for many, Veclan announced. His voice echoed through the hall. We have heard your stories, seen your mistakes, and questioned your intentions. How can we be sure you are not here to deceive us, to weaken the Solari from within? Murmurs spread. Some nobles nodded in agreement. Others exchanged worried glances. Noah took a deep breath. Lord Veclan, I understand your concerns. It's natural to be cautious with strangers. But if you look at history, all civilizations that grew stronger did so by working together, not apart, Veclan sneered. Easy words for a guest. But what proof do we have that you won't bring war or destruction? Noah smiled gently. I'm no warrior. I'm just a man who believes in connection. The shared poems and stories. They show our past may be linked. That's a start. Solara raised her hand. Enough. We have all heard the proofs, but understanding goes beyond words. She looked directly at Noah. Ambassador, your people have shown something rare. Honesty and humor. Even when your translator insulted me, you did not hide or deny it. You faced it. Noah laughed quietly. It wasn't planned. Believe me. The Queen's smile deepened. That is why many here watch you closely, not only for what you say, but how you say it. Your willingness to be flawed, yet keep trying, is unusual. Later that evening, Noah was invited to a smaller gathering, a private meeting with several younger Solari nobles, who were curious about humans. They asked many questions about Earth's cultures, customs, and even about human mistakes. One noble, Arya, asked, why do your people laugh at errors even when they cause trouble? Noah thought for a moment, because laughter helps. You stay hopeful when something goes wrong. Sometimes the best thing is to smile and keep moving forward. Arya nodded slowly. That is very different from Solari pride. Maybe that's why we get along. Noah said, we balance each other. Meanwhile, back in the Queen's council chambers, whispers of dissent grew louder. Lord Veclan and his supporters plotted quietly. They believed the humans were a threat, not because of their power, but because of their unpredictability. Veclan's closest advisor said, your plan to disrupt the talks might save our people from a dangerous alliance. Veclan smiled coldly. Let them think they have won. Then we will act. The next day, as Noah prepared to present new proposals for trade and cultural exchange, strange things began to happen. Messages intended for the Queen were delayed or changed. Documents were lost or corrupted. A suspicious energy surge briefly shut down parts of the palace's communication system. Noah sensed sabotage. He told Lana and the team, someone here doesn't want us to succeed. We have to be careful. Lana nodded. I'm running extra scans on the networks. We'll find out who's behind this. That evening, Noah was invited back to the Queen's private chambers. Solara looked tired but resolute. The high houses are restless. They want me to end these talks. They say your people cannot be trusted. Noah sat down beside her. Then we need to prove them wrong. Let me help. She looked at him, her eyes softening. We have a choice: back down and avoid conflict, or stand firm and risk everything. Noah took her hand gently. Sometimes risk is the only way. Forward, Solara smiled. You speak like a true human. Together, they planned a public demonstration of trust and transparency. Noah's team would use the palace's communication system to broadcast the truth, the shared history, the peaceful intentions, and the dangers of those who wish to sabotage the Alliance. Noah's translator device, now carefully tested and upgraded, would play a key role, translating messages clearly and honestly for all to hear. On the day of the broadcast, the palace was filled with anticipation. Nobles, guards, and citizens gathered in the main square. Noah stepped to the podium. His voice was steady. "We come in peace, we come with respect, and we come with truth." The communication system lit up, showing images and texts from Earth and Solari archives, the poems, the stories, the shared symbols. Then, in real time, messages intercepted from the conspirators were played back, showing plans to disrupt talks and spread lies. The crowd gasped. Sci-Lara stepped forward. "Those who wish to divide us shall not succeed. We stand together, humans and Solari." In the days that followed, many in the court shifted their opinions. Lord Veklen's power weakened as more nobles supported the Alliance. Noah and Solara met often, not just as ambassador and queen, but as partners building something new. One afternoon, Noah asked, "Do you really think humans and Solari can change the galaxy?" Solara smiled, her energy crown flickering softly. "If clumsy honesty and stubborn hope are weapons, then yes, we will change it." Noah laughed. "I'll take that as a yes," as the sun set over the glowing palace gardens. Noah looked up at the stars and thought about how far humanity had come from a mistranslated insult to the beginning of a true alliance. It had been a wild journey, but this was only the start. The palace buzzed with nervous energy after days of tense meetings, secret plots, and careful diplomacy. The moment had come to reveal the truth and decide Earth's fate with the Solari Dominion. Ambassador Noah Trask stood before a large crowd. In the palace's grand hall, the walls shimmered with light, and the air smelled faintly of glowing flowers. Nobles from all the high houses filled the seats, their eyes fixed on the small stage where Noah prepared to speak. At his side stood Queen Solara, calm and regal. Her crown of blue fire glowed steadily, a symbol of her strength and wisdom. She had faced opposition in her court, but she believed in this alliance and humanity. Noah adjusted his translator device, now upgraded with the latest software. The little blue light blinked steadily. It had come a long way since that first fateful greeting. He smiled to himself, thinking of the moment the device had accidentally insulted the queen by calling her flatulent light. That embarrassing start was now a story everyone shared quietly, a reminder that even great things can begin with mistakes. Noah stepped forward and began, his voice steady but warm. "Esteemed members of the Solari court," he said, "we stand here today not as strangers or enemies, but as partners. Partners who share history, who seek peace, and who learn from our mistakes." He signaled to the palace's communication system. A series of images and videos began to play on glowing screens. Around the hall, there were pictures of Earth's great cities, of humans and Solari working together, and of the ancient poems and symbols both cultures shared. Then, the tone shifted. The screen showed intercepted messages from the conspirators, those who wanted to break the alliance before it began. Their plans to sabotage peace, to spread lies, and to turn the court against the humans. Gasps spread through the crowd. Queen Solara raised her hand for silence. "These traitors sought to divide us," she said firmly, "but we have uncovered their deceit." She turned to Noah. "Your people have proven their honesty even when it was not easy. They came with open hearts even when the path was unclear." At that moment, the palace doors burst open. Several guards entered, escorting Lord Veklen and his closest allies. "Your Radiance," Veklen sneered. "This assembly is a farce. These humans are tricksters and liars." Solara's voice did not waver. "You have been found guilty of treason and conspiracy against the Solari Dominion." The guards moved forward. Veklen scowled but said nothing as he was taken away. With the threat removed, the atmosphere shifted. Nobles began to nod and murmur agreements. The alliance was real. Noah stepped down from the stage and found Lana and the other Earth team members waiting. They smiled, tired but victorious. Lana whispered, "We did it." Noah nodded. "Yeah, And I think the translator deserves a medal. The little device blinked blue, as if in agreement. Later, in the quiet of the Queen's private chamber, Noah and Solar shared a rare moment alone. "You have changed many minds today," she said softly, "and you showed that even a queen can laugh." "At a silly mistake," Noah replied. She smiled, a genuine warmth in her eyes. "The translator's words will be remembered, but so will your courage." Noah laughed. "I hope it's the courage, not the insults, that people remember." She reached out and took his hand. "Both are part of what makes us strong." Before Noah left the palace to prepare for the long journey home, the Queen gave him a small, carved box. "Inside is the tongue of chaos," she explained. "Your translator device. It will remain here, a symbol that even mistakes can bring light." Noah carefully opened the box and saw the device, shining softly. "Thank you," he said. "I will tell Earth the story. How humor and honesty build bridges between stars." Solara nodded. "And perhaps one day, your people and mine will walk the stars together as family." As Noah walked through the palace gardens one last time, the sky above painted in deep purples and blues, he thought of how far humanity had come. From an awkward, accidental insult to a true friendship between species, from mistakes to meaning. The translator device buzzed softly on his collar. "Goodbye, squishy radiance," it said in Solari. Noah smiled and waved. "Goodbye, your flatulent light," he joked quietly. The stars seemed to shine just a little brighter.